6 and win on Eagles -3.
Well,
because I would have lost the -6 and pushed on the -3.
You would have.
So thank you, Jake Elliott.
I agree, and I am definitely happy because I was texting both you and I was texting our mini group here, you and Josh, because it kept going down.
Yeah.
You alerted me to -6, so I jumped on it -6.
Right.
And then they scored, or I think the Giants scored again,
yep.
right? And it went to -5.5. So I pounded -5.5.
Well, it went to 3.
Well, no, it went to -2.5.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at one point, it went to -2.5 for me, and then I doubled up on that.
I stopped looking because I was so disgusted with the way they were playing. I was like, this is enough.
But see, okay, but that's the point. And look, you and I talk about betting. I get it. Like, everybody talks about betting. But isn't there something to that where you knew, forget the team and what you were watching as far as, the game itself, as far as the tempo and feel and just the Giants, you knew as soon as that dropped, it was only a matter of time. The Eagles were going to win that game. Like, you didn't have a doubt in your mind, as disgusted as you were.
No, I did have doubts.
Well, then why would you bet and continue to compound your bets?
After I made the -3 bet, and it got to halftime at 17-3, after they gave up that long one where Slayton splits
Darby.
McLeod and Darby. I don't know what the hell they were doing. And they scored that easy touchdown. I'm like, oh boy, this could be all bad. But I just stopped betting at that point. And I still, at that point, was thinking, like, they could lose this game. This could be a repeat of last week.
I can't.
Seriously. And then I wanted to fire everybody.
Well, that's the thing. I suggested people who bought tickets that were down there leave and protest.
I saw that.
And let them win that game in
an empty stadium.
Right, like they deserve.
Well, yeah, almost like that high school game that had to complete, with the link a couple weeks ago.
Right. I mean, at that point, I could not believe it. But, again, my reasoning was because there was no way Eli Manning and Darius Slayton, who won me actually a couple of bucks last night.
He's actually good.
DFS. Yeah, I don't know why he's been kept under wraps like this. But here's the thing. For me, when I placed those bets, Eagles -6, Eagles -5.5, Eagles -2.5. You got them at 6, 5.5?
6 and 3.
Oh, 6 and 3. Okay. And I think for you, there's something into this as well. But for me, the biggest, not the only, because we always focus on the biggest motivating factor for me was that there was no way in hell the Giants would be able to keep that up for a full game. Not so much that Boston Scott and Greg Ward
guys, practice squad guys, all of a sudden are players on this team.
Right.
And there's so many things that we can unpack over the next couple of days before we really start focusing on the Redskins game about how they got to where they are with this roster. And where were some of these guys? Why were some of these guys buried on practice squads when they're trying to roll out and shove Mac Hollins up our rear ends, for 2.5, 3 years, whatever it was. There's so many other things aside from just looking at the game and analyzing the game. I mean, we had Sidney Jones got a snap last night and made a play.
Did you see what happened?
I thought he was dead.
No, I know. I did not realize that he was back there, even up in that game.
Unbelievable.
But I quoted this tweet because I couldn't believe it. This was pretty much sums up Sidney Jones' career right now. Ed Kratz, right?
Yes, I know him.
At Kratz E. Okay, so Ed covers the Eagles now forever. I feel like a decade. For Eagle Maven is part of the SI channel, right? So Ed's a really good follow. Make sure you follow him at KRACZE.
I believe. Yeah.
Right, CZE.
Okay.
So Ed tweets, Sidney Jones played one snap but made it count. Now, Ed didn't mean this. I just took it this way because I thought it was hilarious. Sidney Jones played one snap but made it count, knocking away a throw to force a punt on New York's possession right after the Eagles tied the game. Quote, Rasul started cramping, and then Coach was looking around, and he said, Craig James. And then he said, Sid, it was my only snap efficient, end quote. Now,
not Sid Rosenberg.
No, not Sidney. But here's the thing. This is a microcosm for Sidney Jones right now. He's on the bench, and the coach looks around and says...
Calls him by a different name.
No, he called for Craig James.
I thought he might have called him by his wrong name, or was he actually looking for Craig James?
I think he was looking...
Either way, it's not good for Sidney.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So either way you look at and you want to split this apple down the middle, it's not great. But yes, he made the play count. I'll say this, but here's the thing. I am torn right now because I don't want to get too high and I don't want to get too low. And a lot of times when we do this business and we try to sound not even rational, like I'm not telling you, hey, look ahead the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I can't do that.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, as far as my reaction to yesterday,
Yeah.
I don't know what to feel today, Harry. I don't know if
Well,
the Eagles got by in the skin of their teeth because the Giants are so bad and they still haven't won a game since
That's
week
part of
2,
it.
or the Eagles had some magic moment that they got, like Nick Foles came in last
this
year.
magic moment. You talking about that?
What's that from?
That's a great song.
Is it? It's not One
I
Shining.
forget. No. It's totally different. Anyway, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Did you see the over-the-shoulder Willie Mays catch that he made?
And that's another micro of the wide receivers this year. Is
And
that
then he got hurt.
Well, it came on a flag in which it wouldn't have even mattered.
Right.
The guy made a beautiful catch and should be lauded as such.
Right.
But it was on a penalty where even if he dropped the ball like usual, it wouldn't have
They
mattered.
would have still gotten some yardage.
No,
Yeah.
and the other thing you just said after that was, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Well, now we have to look at this. Where the hell is
Everybody's hurt. There it is.
Who sings this?
Written so new, unlike any other. The Drifters. How about that?
This isn't their most favorite song, though, right?
That's the most weird question.
Why?
Have you ever heard the song?
I have, but I know
It's
that's
a great song.
This is official. Like, this is.
They have more hits.
This is rhythm and blues, not R&B that you hear today. All right.
This is classic
They
stuff.
have the hit. Like, they have a ton of hits, and that's what I'm saying is that this isn't their.
Do they do Under the Boardwalk?
They do. That's what I would think would be their most famous song.
Might
right?
be the most recognizable one. Yeah.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah.
You know, Ray Lewis was in the Drifters. Do you realize how many people were in the Drifters?
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray Lewis. There's a man named Ray.
Ben E. King. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Benny King.
Well, he had some hits on his own.
Charlie Thomas, Lewis Bailey, Stephen Brown, Jerome Manning, Jeff Hall. There you go.
There you go. I think Doug P is listening to some Drifters right now
Is
because he's avoiding the media. Either that or he's maybe getting the final reports on,
Where the hell
on
is
the
he?
health status of some of his key players. How about Lane? When I saw Lane Johnson go down last
was
night
it.
and he's writhing in pain, flopping around on the field, I'm like, oh my God, the season is over.
We need to focus on that injury, I think, more so than anything moving forward, right?
Well,
clearly
Mills
around.
got hurt. Alshon left the game.
They got by without Alshon. Look, Boston. I played a fantasy league last night where you choose a captain, right, and you get 1.5 times. So I played 2 rosters, one just to throw out there and thought, what the hell? Guess who my captain was for my what the hell?
my captain, Boston Scott.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Not Boston Nahigian.
No, not Boston Hagen. I don't know if there's another Boston. Do you know another?
No.
Well, there's David Boston.
Yeah, that's not a first name, though. That doesn't count.
Well, you have to go Scott, and Scott's too common, so it's not worth it. But Boston Scott comes in,
Yeah.
and
He was unbelievable.
it reminds you of Darren Sproles saving a game.
Right.
It reminded you of Chip Kelly's years where there was nothing working at all. So just give the ball to Darren Sproles, and he'll make something
Like against
happen.
the Jacksonville Jaguars that went to
Yep.
ran for like a 50-yard touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was on like a 4th and 1.
I think it
right?
was, yeah,
a short yardage play. Right. It's just boom.
Oh,
All right, here's
Doug's
Doug.
here.
Here's Doug. Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
I was finishing up our my stethoscope and my medical meeting. Sorry. On.
Lane Johnson and Alshon Jeffrey.
Lane Johnson is week to week. Alshon is a little more significant. I am waiting on one more test result later this
Might
afternoon.
have an Achilles.
It's a little more significant.
It's not good.
We got to do a course of action, a plan with him. Here pretty soon probably. I'm gonna wait before I comment on that. It's significant until I get this last test result this afternoon. Yes.
How do these guys cramp up on a night like that?
Yeah.
It's wet and
his
cold.
Yeah, but I mean, normally you cramp up when it's hot. Like, they're not fucking hydrating enough. This team is fucked up.
Okay, he'll be day to day. The only thing you'll see probably is a brace, on his elbow. But other than that, he's good.
What's the early plan then for right tackle next week? Would it be Big V?
Yeah, just like we came and got out of the game,
give up 2 sacks.
So right now we would consider just keeping that.
Jason Peters did that
status quo.
For the wide receiver, what's the plan there?
He got blown up, and that's how Lane Johnson got hurt.
We got a couple guys on practice squad if we need to make a move. Obviously, as you know, we could look outside the building, if we need to. But we're going to work through that today and try to get something in place here pretty quick. We're back on the field tomorrow.
You expect to have Ellie on Sunday? Or is that still?
They're only 4.5-point favorites on Sunday.
We just got to continue to work through his injury and where he's at.
It's ridiculous.
Without Darius Geis, he's out.
And see where he is prior to this week.
Can you go into the game again with 3 receivers?
I mean, obviously, you never know what's going to happen. It's unfortunate without Sean, early in this football game. It is difficult to go in with 3, but I'll tell you this. I'll say that the guys that did play, JJ, Greg, Perk that stepped up, Boston did an outstanding job and really helped us win this game.
How's Jonathan playing through the whole injuries? He says related to that cumulative effects.
No, separate. Yeah, this is totally separate. Yeah.
No, I don't mind. I think it's cool that they do that. I just think that, like, our show should be podcast.
The offense, we got to have those experiences.
Yeah, I think the confidence level just.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't one or the other.
Since he's gone.
For JJ to have the
Right.
success he did, and obviously Greg and Perk. I mean, and then just Carson to trust and have that continuity with him, and all 3 of those guys had major impacts in the football game, and and that's exciting to see. And these guys they're eager and they're wanting to continue to learn and grow, and the more that they're working with Carson and that first unit, they'll just fit right in and hopefully help us win another game.
There's a lot of comparisons between Boston Scott and Darren Sproles for obvious reasons, but when you look at what Boston did yesterday and the play calling for him, how much of that is maybe some of the plays that have left over from when Darren Sproles was still healthy and playing this offense?
There's a little bit, a little bit of carryover there. I mean, there are. I think the comparison is good. Between the two, because body types and size and speed and athleticism and all that are relatively the same. And it was good to see Boston get in the game and do the things he did, honestly. And they just gave us as an offense, there was a change of pace. There was a quickness there, and that's just Boston. It takes nothing away from the other guys, but something we continue to implement into our game plan and find ways to utilize him, in the offense.
After the game, you said that tempo had something to do with Carson's second half success. We've seen that over the years. What has been the reasoning behind not going as much to that?
Well, we attempted actually in the first half to do that. We just were unsuccessful with some of the first or second down plays. We get then we're in a third down situation. It's hard to overcome. When we really got into our rhythm, we were creating more first downs. It was first down to first down to first down, or first to second, and get another first down and stay on the field.
I don't know what happened.
So we got in a rhythm that way.
You
But
guys
it's
send
not
us a
from
player.
Our attempt as an offense to try to get to it sooner in the game.
What about the opening drive?
I don't know.
Would we go 3, 4 plays yesterday?
Is the plan ever to just go in and start? Yeah, just to start.
Yeah, we talked about that sometimes. Yeah, we've talked about that. And I talked with the offense even in this game to do it not necessarily the first series, but at least maybe the second or third once we got into the full game.
Do you anticipate a role for him even when your other backs are healthy? I mean, has he shown you enough that he deserves a shot?
Sure. Yeah, sure. And where we are right now as a team and offense, I think that
This guy says, I'm watching Harry watch my tweet on the phone.
It goes all the way back to training camp and
On the Periscope.
And showed some of that speed and quickness. I think can really make an impact for us.
I think the energy those guys bring
Is that the bull tone?
Yeah.
Just because they haven't played and they see this as their opportunity. Do you think in a way that's kind of contagious to the rest of the team just because they're glad to be there on the national stage and everything?
I think so. I think just having that youthfulness out there, and feed off of that. And so I think anytime that, because the rest of the team, I would say that as they watch these guys in practice and make these plays in practice, and now they're starting to show
Right,
the
at home,
some of these young
yeah.
players, I think that's where it becomes contagious, and
I think so,
you see the
yeah.
excitement from the rest of the team when the plays are made in a game because they see it in practice. And so yeah, I do think that those guys, the rest of the team, can feed off of that.
Game situation question, Doug. In the past, down 2 touchdowns, you would go for 2. On the first touchdown, you looked like you were thinking of it. Why didn't you go for 2?
Personnel, really. Alshon, we had a couple plays designed for Alshon. He was out, and then had a couple of runs designed there for Miles, and I just didn't feel comfortable at the time until we got more information on some of those plays.
What's that?
I got an event in the city tonight at 6 o'clock.
There,
On the
obviously, and then,
23rd,
had we
Ludlow.
gone for 2, as you know,
What's that?
which is why we were planning on doing that. It would have been
It's
the
the
game-winning
Fiddler
drive
Club.
as opposed to the game-tying drive at the end.
At what point were you, before you knew that there was
Yeah,
like 2 or
it's
3
a new
minutes left
club,
in the third
Veterans.
quarter? Like, at what point
A
in the
private
game
club.
will you go for 2 in that same situation?
I mean, it was, what were we? You got to be careful not to just chase points, especially if it's early, say the first half. But where we were in that game and not scoring until the third quarter, that was for us the right time, to go for 2. So you got to be careful that way. I don't think you do it necessarily in the first half of the game, but I think where we were was the right time. And there's been times where we've had 8, 9, or 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and of course then we do it for sure.
You got the 4th and 3 and sent the offense onto the field for the punt unit, and then they called the timeout. Were you planning on going for it, or were you trying to throw them off sides?
One of 2 things. Well, 3 things really. Either attempt to draw them off, take the delay game back up 5 and punt the football, or see if they would burn the timeout, which they did, and so we got 1 of 3.
As you watched the tape, what changed in the second half? What on offense was different that allowed Carson to play so much better?
I do think the tempo of the offense picked up. I think guys were, we had a little bit more success running the football. It was a good run defense, as we know, going into the football game, and so we had a little success there running the ball, which helped. The play action pass really picked up, and then getting Carson outside the pocket a couple of times. But I think just the tempo of the offense picking up and creating some plays helped us, get ourselves back in that game.
Big games from Carson before, obviously back in 2017, even this year over in Green Bay. But where does this one rank from the standpoint of first overtime when the drive gives it together late in the fourth quarter for kind of finding that momentum?
I think this would have to be his number 1 game, honestly. And he would, you could ask him later this week, but I just think from the standpoint of putting the team on his back and leading this team down the field, down 2 scores and to tie the game, and of course to win it in overtime. Some of the plays that he did make, whether it was, extending it with his legs, or keeping a play alive and finding receivers down the field, and then his toughness to stand in the pocket and take some shots. I would say this would be his number 1 game in the 4 years that has really kind of, it's exciting for him, and I think it gives him confidence moving forward.
That question was asked that he already thought that was his best game.
Yeah, you think about some of the big games he's been in, go all the way back to the Rams game in 17 where he was playing, he was having an MVP season that year, and that was a big game, obviously, to help us win the NFC East. And even though he got hurt that day, that was a big game. There's been games like that where he's had big games, but this one, where to be down the way we were and to lose another receiver, to lose your right tackle, and to really step up and make the plays in those conditions.
Step it up.
Too, really, to me,
What's that?
No, I'm just saying.
I feel
Just
like
talking.
that's his best.
Okay.
That's his best he's played, and it's something he can continue to grow and work on.
Carson plays Sunday. This will be the latest he's taken snaps in December in 3 years. How important are these last 3 games?
We're basically at 25 after anyway.
Yeah.
This kind of pressure.
really Dan Marino for that matter, but Brett Favre for 8 years, and you can see it when it gets crunch time. You put it on the quarterback, and guys rally, and that's what we saw yesterday. And I think that's now what you're going to see, and hopefully you see as we continue to grow as a team, and hopefully years to come, that's the case, that the guys now can ascend around Carson, and we can put it on his shoulders and say, hey, let's go win the game.
Now, which guys are those going to be? That's what we're going to have to look at when we come back, because as you heard Doug Peterson, this actually was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be not necessarily standoffish, but full of a lot of bravado.
A little bravado, like puffing his chest out.
Yeah. I don't. The only puff I need is from Sean Puffy Combs at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I don't need it from
Lane
Doug
Johnson's
Peterson.
week to week. Alshon's injury is so serious. He's probably
out.
done.
He's done for the year.
And
there's no way Alshon Jeffrey, who's on his way out as it stands, is going to race back.
And Jalen Mills is day-to-day, according to the coach. But so many
about
of the great
Ronald Darby?
Philly football fans have joined me and Eitan at our home. And that's the home team. I'm talking about Parks Casino and Sportsbook. Parks has you covered for sports betting online with a beautiful Sportsbook app. I used it twice last night in-game with the Eagles game, or in person at the beautiful book down in Bensalem. You got to check it out, man. Parks Casino and Sportsbook is my casino of choice, and the only sportsbook backed by the #1 casino in all of Pennsylvania. And they're not based overseas or out of town. They're right here in the Delaware Valley. Now, you heard it, the Birds. They have another must-win this weekend. They're 4.5-point favorites at Washington. No Darius Geis for the Redskins. You got a whole list of bowl games that have just been put out. Temple's a 6-point underdog against UNC. Penn State's favored by 7 over Memphis. You got the semifinal games. Clemson a 2-point favorite. LSU now going up to 13, I think, as a 13-point favorite over Oklahoma. You got to get in on all that action. Download the app in the App Store. ParksCasino.com/PA. Use our promo code SWEEP. You'll get up to a $500 risk-free bet. Must be 21 and in PA. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to the Maze and Eitan Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement. dryguysonair.com.
This is the radio home of Philadelphia Eagles football. This Sunday, the Eagles look to start the series with the Washington Redskins.
This is the kind of day in this business you miss working.
The countdown to kickoff show with Tony Bruno starts at 10 a.m. Maryland Mike
What do you mean?
all the action starting at 1 p.m.
I know.
This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's
Yeah,
Eagles
I
station.
don't understand that
Are
either.
you tired of the same old, looking for an exciting new experience? Join our friends at Bury the Hatchet. Take part in one of the fastest growing sports in the nation.
Strange, isn't it?
Thrill of axe throwing and compete against your
That's the thing, like, to your point, damn this thing.
Just goes to show there's no sense of urgency whatsoever down there.
No, nothing's happening. They fixed
It
it.
ain't ever gonna change.
So here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying, hey, you're out sick, you shouldn't be tweeting, but he clearly didn't take off for a reason. Right?
I stopped in Baltimore enjoying it.
Locations right in your backyard in Cherry Hill and Tom's River, plus Philadelphia and Salem, Horsham, and King of Prussia. Use our promo
Is it pouring?
50 for 50% off your first 2
No.
50% off. Just use our promo code HARRY50. Bury the Hatchet. Go to burythehatchet.com. Fabio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the 2nd floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia. We're with the house. At Fabio's, it's all about the guests. Fabio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious
That fireplace.
and an extended dining room staff provide every guest an
I don't know what to put it on. I think
At
it's
Fabio's, it's all about the guests. Join us for a power lunch, happy
Ace.
hour, or Sunday lunch. At Fabio's, it's all about the guests.
Isan. This thing with the Patriots is hilarious to me. You know? The bill with the Bengals?
Rotor Cup.
Fuck. Too It's not wide enough.
Rotor cup issues. That's almost as bad as Tom McInnes.
Who said that?
That's what they say on the promo.
McInnes?
McInnes.
Very unusual in this business. Look at their strengths. We excel at indoor projects.
Tell me that I'm the only one that notices that?
I think you might be, to be honest with you. Now, I wonder what does this look like.
For national manufacturers and for our work.
Isan Thai Massage, right?
DSP, the owner and the foreman of 23 years, are always part of the team. Look for fair terms.
It's 42 wide.
I'll tell you.
Love it.
Josh has got to be pissed.
You pissed?
No, pissed.
Why?
List Jeff Mosher, Ryan, and Rhodes to the 6, and Josh putting it all together. Rhodes getting run
Top billing?
as a host.
Yeah, you're right.
All
right.
I just don't have a place for you right now.
I could hear the name. You know?
Welcome to 2 Street and welcome to Toll Man Joe's. Toll Man Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day and your spot for free. Free parking.
That might be too wide, huh?
Get to Toll Man Joe's 2 hours before kickoff, 26 East Oregon Avenue. Hi, this is Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Toll Man Joe's.
Covering Philadelphia and the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, Kristen Thompson, a proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate market for 20 years.
Welcome to 2
specializing
Street.
in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the county.
Is Jason coming in tomorrow? Should we just have him? Oh, no, it's Tom's Rivers.
No.
He's coming tomorrow, then?
No.
No?
Real estate advocate who will
Why, was he done now?
on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
If you run a business in Pennsylvania,
It kind of petered out. I didn't like the energy in last week's show.
What do you mean with him?
He doesn't really bring it.
What's going on, huh?
Yeah, like that's it. He doesn't really, like, he's so like not wanting to talk sports, but yet he doesn't come up with any other like
Should we,
content. Like, I'm fine if you don't want to talk sports, but have something.
Right.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the
That's crazy, too, because it's only 2 hours.
I know.
Wayne and Phoenixville. Go to the Great American Pub.
He's tweeting his ass off about the Eagles. And all
Right.
this other. You think he'd come with something, but he just wants to fart around and do impressions.
American Pub, the preferred location of the Mays and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great
Yeah.
American Pub.
This is Joe Krause and Krause's Coats inviting you to
Apparently, he got those other jobs with the Flyers and with the iHeartRadio or whatever,
When does
or
that-
radio.com.
When does that start?
with Harry Mays and
Well, the Flyers, it starts now, but January, I think, for the other one.
and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
So, Doug Peterson said a lot, and I think the best place to start here is the injuries. I mean, that's really the
Yeah.
crux of the issue moving forward. And I'm not talking about the next 3 games. No, I'm saying as far as right now, Washington going into this game with most likely not Alshon Jeffrey, right? That's a safe assessment.
That's a lock, if you ask me. I mean, what the coach said was he doesn't want to give the determination right now. He's waiting on some other test,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's way more serious than any of the other injuries, and that tells me that he's not only gone for next week. He's probably not going to play the rest of the way.
I would be shocked if we see
That
Alshon
looked-
Jeffrey on the field.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not that doctor in San Diego that
Chow?
Chow, who makes diagnoses.
well,
on,
he's got a pretty
on
shady
video.
history, too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that did not look good. I don't know if it's Achilles related or what, but that did not look good.
No, he pulled up lame,
Yeah.
as they say, and carted off. The biggest concern, even if Alshon Jeffrey we knew out for the year. Like, there wasn't even any doubt right now. I'm still 10 times more concerned about Lane Johnson.
Yes.
And I don't know if Doug Peterson was accurate or if Doug Peterson was covering, but I think his interpretation of played well and my interpretation of played well didn't really match up much for Big V. Like, I didn't think he played well. I just didn't. Like, didn't he give up 2 sacks?
I don't remember. I know that Jason Peters got blown up and blown up into Carson, who then fell on Lane Johnson, and that's how Lane got hurt. You know, that was a Jason Peters from the other side. I didn't really pay attention much. I wasn't spot shadowing Big V, but they always seem to want to say that Big V played well. I think to sort of keep building him up.
Is that it?
I think that's part of it.
It's just to keep building up his confidence?
Yeah.
Is that why we heard for so long that Mac Hollins was playing well?
Yeah, of course.
To build up his that's the psyche that Mike Groh was trying to penetrate. It's just to remind us, hey, don't count this kid out. He's playing well.
Now, you know, to go into a game with only 3 wide receivers dressed is almost unfathomable in the NFL.
Well, you had Ward, you had Alshon,
and Arcega-Whiteside.
And JJ.
2 of which, Ward and Arcega-Whiteside, combined for 13 receptions in their careers coming into that game.
Is that right?
That's 2 of your 3 guys right there. And, you know, one of them, Arcega-Whiteside, made a catch or 2, a real nice catch, but like you said, it would have been, they still would have gotten yards on a penalty. But I thought Ward played really well.
No, I did too.
Considering.
I did, and it's the same thing that you got from Boston Scott, which was opportunity.
Yeah.
And
seizing the moment.
So there was a tweet that came out. Hunter put this tweet out, and I don't have it in front of me because I'm trying to adjust something here on the fly, but Hunter put this tweet out, and I think it's a combination. I don't think it's all what he said, but I think he's on to something, if I can say that, right? So it basically said, it's nice and refreshing to see guys like Boston Scott and Greg Ward go out there and want to make plays for their quarterback.
Right, yes.
As opposed to what we haven't seen from, and I'm paraphrasing, Nelson and Alshon. So what I think is more middle ground and more a reality is that it's not so much only that, but these guys may like Greg Ward may never get another opportunity again. They may bring somebody in right now. You never know. Like that might be Greg Ward's tape. That might be Boston Scott's tape. These guys, yes, they're playing for Carson, but I think even more importantly, it's what happens when you give somebody. Look, it happened with Corey, man.
Oh, yeah,
the guy we have on the wall right here after we got duped by Amazon. This guy right here was an undrafted rookie.
I think Boston Scott is part of the future. He's the guy to take over for Sproles.
Yes, he is.
But I don't know about Ward. But yeah, this could be their audition basically for the rest of the league. Some of these guys, and I get that. But how about Perkins? Perkins made a couple of plays too in that game.
Not the big smooth.
No, not him. Josh Perkins.
Where does Sam Perkins? Well, listen. Now Kendrick Perkins is bottom on the list of Perkins, but he's worth a mention. Where does the diner Perkins?
Well, that's right at the top.
Is that above the big smooth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa.
Yes, it does because of Tiger Woods and the Perkins pancake waitress.
Okay.
Come on, man.
No. But that what happened with Rick Pitino in a Denny's doesn't bump up the quality of Denny's.
That's because Rick Pitino doesn't bump
Yeah, who cares? Rick Pitino is not Tiger Woods.
No, but what Rick Pitino was doing in that Denny's was way more scum than what Tiger was doing in that Perkins.
I don't know. I wasn't at either place.
Well, Perkins, see, you missed an obvious one. Perkins has a built-in bakery where they provide made-on-spot desserts. You think a Denny's is going to do that?
I don't eat at these places.
All right, you make it.
Okay.
Make
Perkins made a bunch of catches last night, and he was the guy that probably was put in there as the quote-unquote fourth wide receiver rather than bringing somebody up from a practice squad. They've got 3 guys on the practice squad that play wide receiver. Now, those guys are either they're just so bad or so misevaluated, which we've seen some guys being misevaluated. I don't know, but those 3 guys might want to look into getting their real estate license, because if one of those guys couldn't crack and get signed and put on the main roster last night, it ain't ever going to happen.
Yeah, but do you really hold them accountable so much as, isn't Greg Ward the opposite to what you just laid out, which is a guy who has some talent that's been buried by a coaching staff that refuses to admit they made mistakes, or at least have been given
or the front office.
That's what I'm
saying. Hey, you're playing this guy because I drafted him in the 4th round, and we're going to give him every opportunity to tell us that we're wrong. And meanwhile, he's pretty good on special teams. We're going to keep telling everybody that.
I think you need to substitute front office with coaching staff. I think guys like Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz tell Howie Roseman players to get way more than Howie Roseman says, I'm getting you this player. Jim Schwartz. Look at the guys they brought in. You think Howie had to basically... There's still reported internal people being upset, mainly Schwartz, about getting rid of Anderson Sendejo because Howie wanted that comp pick. That's my point, is that I think this is more coaching-driven as far as personnel on that team than front office. Front office is the means to get it, Harry. Big Mike McD weighing in on Twitter. Plus, Ward had a TD taken away on that bogus holding call.
Oh, that was a bad call. On Brooks? Yeah, that was BS.
Booger, we're going to get your thoughts. You had to... See, normally it's just me recapping what I heard on a Monday night. Now you got to experience up close and personal. Let me tell you something. If I never hear Joe Tessitore utter another word in my life, I die a happy man. Back after this.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere. Are you serious? Download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app now. 97.3ESPN.com/app. Listen to Sixers basketball tonight with Tom McInnes calling all the action.
This is Tom McInnes of the 76ers.
Is that the promo, Tom McInnes?
Sixers basketball on South
It's a lead into McInnes himself talking. Tom McInnes, and then it's Tom McGinnis.
Denver Nuggets. Coverage begins at 8 p.m.
Sixers basketball on South Jersey's home for the 76ers. 97.3 ESPN. I am so ready for football season, Ari.
Yeah, that needs to be redone, man. That guy says Tom McInnes, like K. McInnes instead of McGinnis.
Pennsylvania Parks Casino.
I don't really give a shit. I'm saying he should.
Right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/.
True.
Well, that's true, too.
What's that?
He should be working. Now he's just tweeting left and right while he's at home.
Yeah, is this normal for him to take off in December like this during football? What's that?
Every year it's the same times of year. March, July, August, December.
Yeah, but December is such an odd time for people to take off.
Yeah, take Christmas and the day after Christmas or somebody's taking 2 weeks during the end of football
Yeah,
season.
I mean, think about how normal it is for people to be working like that Thanksgiving week, because usually there's one, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Caring is help when you need it most.
Summer, I'd be getting out. What's that?
More control over your decisions.
No, I know, but I mean, summer, I'd be here working. Or summer, I'd be out of here.
Right for you. It's just one more way we are helping members throughout the Philadelphia region make better, more informed healthcare choices. Because we believe caring is help when you need it most. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
Wow. Dallas Stars fired their head coach for unprofessional conduct.
Basement crawl space and foundation problem. They have over 30 patented products, including unique insulation packages and great warranties too. Family-owned Dry Guys has been providing peace of mind for over 30
Want to go to the text board, or you want to hit Tess and Boog in this segment and then go to the text board in the next segment? The long segment.
No, let's hit the text board now. We can always bring those guys up.
704808 or visit Dry Guys.
Wow, this guy had 2 years left.
Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to dryguysonair.com.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations.
Thus far, I bet Oakland and Seattle next week.
Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub.
Did you see this? Mike Babcock was fired in November because he asked a rookie to rank the teammates.
Yeah, and then he narked and he told the veterans what the guy said. Yeah.
And he got fired for that?
Well, there's other stuff too.
You sure?
Yeah.
Boy, this thing does not paint anything else but that. I would think they would even bring it up.
Experience in the market. They know the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686. That's 800-691-1686. Or visit online at lighthouse.ins.biz.
There are so many choices when it comes to selecting the right financial institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. They're right here in your city. We're also the official credit union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works,
scholarships on studies in Philadelphia and open an account. We're member-owned and offer all the services you're looking for, like mobile banking and free ATM withdrawals. Visit our website at pfcu.com. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA.
Get to the landmark Americana in the heart of Glassboro for what will be a great football experience, a great nightlife experience, or anything you want it to be experience. The landmark Americana. It's the Monday night home of Bruno, Aton, and McMullen. Presented by Corona and South Jersey's football home every Eagles game day. Landmark Americana. You'll know it when you get there, and you'll always remember it when you leave. Go to the landmark Americana. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Oh, this football season, who knows who you'll see?
If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes on the golf course, you should add these 4 words into your training and lifestyle. Traditional, Thai, yoga, massage. A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil and designed to increase your flexibility.
No oil. I'm out.
You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including a better score. Call Asan Thai Massage right now. 215-663-9376. 215-663-9376. Asan Thai Massage. They aim to heal.
A new law helps survivors.
I ain't having no massage without no oil.
Jeff Anderson and Associates.
Yeah, what? How does that even work?
Carl can help. Visit It's Time New Jersey.
I want extra oil.
Call confidentially today at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 80 South Main Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey.
Yep.
This is Joe Krause of Krause's Coats, inviting you to donate a
Wow.
slightly worn coat or jacket and help veterans in need stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's Coats on Facebook and join Martin Law, the law firm for workers, to help those who serve. Have a happy holiday.
This is Mays and A-Time with Harry Mays.
Is Kraus just hanging out at home?
No. He's on the road with the contractors there.
And the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
609-403-0973 is the text board. We also have Glenn we're going to get to as well from EHT, who's on the line holding. And we'll get, you already know where I stand. I am somewhat straddling the line of pro when it comes to Booger, and I am so far anti the other guy, I just, my skin crawls. So we'll get Harry's thoughts as he was actually forced to watch some of Monday Night Football.
I watched the whole game.
I don't know. I was going to say some of Monday Night Football. I don't know how much of that's as far as audio or not.
Well,
I know you watched it, but
yeah.
I don't know how much you heard.
No, I had the audio on. I had it on lower because eventually the wife went to bed, and so I turned it down because I really don't need to hear them.
Right.
In fact, they are more obtrusive than, a help.
Yeah.
It's not.
You're right.
It's not. It doesn't enhance the viewing
Does
product
nothing.
to listening to them. Let's
Correct.
put it that way.
609-403-0973 at Harry Mays to you at Shander Show. We're live on all the visual apps as well, from YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Mays and Aton, and of course the Periscope channel, which is Harry's at Harry Mays to you. Thankful for the Zach Ertz TD in overtime sent me to the championship in my fantasy league.
Wow, how about that?
I wonder how much is that league? How much are you going to win in that 15-week-long process where you had to put $50 in to win, what, $250? Now, join my side where you can win $250 every single day there's a football game. Somebody won $500,000 in this tournament last night because they started Darius Slayton in their slot as a captain.
Really?
And played Ertz and Wentz. It's a crapshoot. It's a roulette table. That's all it is.
It's not like he's some nobody. Guy was at Auburn.
Well, Slayton just didn't come into this as one of the high-priced guys. You figured Tate and Shepard were looked at as guys who were going to contribute more last night. So from a fantasy standpoint, when you only have a certain amount of money associated to your roster, a guy like Slayton, if he performs, is a steal. Well, the guy put up gigantic numbers.
Yeah, in the first half.
Yeah. Well, that was enough.
Right.
All right, let's get Glenn in here. We'll go back to the text board as well. Glenn.
What's up, Glenn?
Just wanted to say about that game last night. It's so funny when you talk about the commentators. I've said to myself many times, I don't really need to hear the game, but sometimes they can be informative because with the angle of the field, they don't give you the whole field. So sometimes when they go back and break things down, I think that's important. And I think Booker has a nice delivery. As for Carson Wentz, to me, what it boils down to, I compare him to Big Ben and what a friend of mine told me about Big Ben before. He makes plays. You just need him to
right. He was spectacular in the fourth quarter, and of course in the overtime drive. It's just like I can't get too crazy about it. I'm glad it happened for the team and for him, but then I have to couch it with that it was against the Giants. I can't get too crazy about it.
We had Matt Lombardo on twice. We had Jordan Renan on.
Yeah.
We had 2.5, I'd say, because Lombardo back on again. People that came on, and the underlying theme across the board was
you're going to have a career game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just wait until you see how bad this defense
Yeah.
is. And that's what frustrated us the most about the first half is that we were fed this, which is accurate all week.
It is. Like
this defense sucks.
Yeah. But then it's remarkable to me with this head coach too, where afterwards when everything turns out okay, it's like, well, what got Carson going? Well, we got him in a little up tempo and got him outside the pocket, and he's saying all these things that we've been saying for how many weeks about getting this team going. Right. But it takes them being put up against the wall, their backs to the wall, and eliminated from the playoff chase to get him to do it. I just don't understand it. Watching him in the first half, it was like, sometimes it's like watching Carson in the pocket. It's like he's got his feet stapled to the field,
to the rug.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He just hangs in there, hoping somebody gets open, and all this chaos is going on right around him. I'm like, will you move?
Yeah. It is bad to see that because you're right.
Crazy.
When he does move, there was one play, I forget who he threw the football to, but it was a completion. It might have been Ertz. But there was one play in which he ran right, and then he ran left, and then he ran back and threw the football.
Oh, yeah. That was the play where he was like running around for what seemed like 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty big play to Ertz that moved the chains. And that's the thing is, he's at his best. Look, there is no quarterback in the history of this game who, when they scrambled, all of a sudden turned into a fortress where you couldn't hurt or hit them.
No, he's good throwing on the run.
He's great throwing on the run. But look, even if you want to go back to guys, and we both watched him when we were growing up, but Steve Young moved everywhere around the football field and created. He was one of the guys that was able to create, and I'm just giving somewhat of a medium, I'm not going to go Frank Tarkenton.
Nah, that's where I was going to go.
No.
Frank Tarkenton.
No. And look, he doesn't have, and stop trying to make Carson Wentz, not you, but people, into Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham is what Lamar Jackson would be.
Nah, nobody's making him into random. If anything, a lot of people go Brett Favre.
Well, my point is that people want him to run. And that ain't happening.
No, he's not Mike Vick, Lamar Jackson kind of runner.
No, but he is a guy with speed, and it's not even subtle speed. It's not like, oh man, that guy snuck up on you 15-yard run. No, this is legit. I don't know. I think we have to be able to look at what happened yesterday and understand that nothing for me has really changed. And it's not because of the division, the Cowboys, no. It's because of the Giants. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest reason why nothing changed for me, Harry, is because it was the Giants.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's what made, like you said, the first half and the 5 straight 3-and-outs on offense so frustrating. You're like, I'm sitting there thinking, they're down 17-3. They just had 5 straight 3-and-outs. How in the world are they going to score touchdowns with now who he has to throw to?
Yeah.
Because that was after all the injuries.
That was the
and you're
worst
like,
part.
man, this is what we're stuck with? It's like a practice squad, with an offensive line, and he's got to go score 3 touchdowns or, 17 points to win a game.
Yeah,
and he did it.
I would agree.
And it went on drives of 10 plays, 58 yards. 14-play, 85-yard drive. And then, of course, the touchdown in overtime where they just went right down the field. Boom, 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 boom.
Nice to see that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Without Alshon, without Nelson, nothing.
Right.
I'm going to read you a tweet from JR, which I am really shocked. Not from JR, but I'm really shocked that we got this tweet, or text, pardon me. And again, as much as I'm trying to pull people away from being so gung-ho, we're going to go the opposite. Because I think it's necessary to do the opposite.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the second floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia. Near
Nice.
At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups.
I might just tweet out, and it's all people just doing political people. It's pretty funny. I said, give me a sex tape that would get 0 views. Celebrity sex tape that would get 0 views. Must have at least 500,000 followers and verified. Somebody tweets Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer.
Oh my God.
Roseanne, Rosie O'Donnell, Lena Dunham.
Oh. Joy Behar.
Yeah. Anyone on The View.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold.
Oh,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
844-470-4808 or visit dryguysonair.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to dryguysonair.com.
Hard at work? Go right now to injuredworkers.com. When you're injured,
Shaq and Joe Buck.
family is injured as well. Turn to a firm of legal attorneys that can help. They will
all these guys
that you can count on. Go to injuredworkers.com from Malabike and Associates. Nobody plans to get injured. When it happens, you need injuredworkers.com.
You're right.
Get the help you need from injuredworkers.com.
Like if you're on vacation,
Go
be on
to
vacation.
injuredworkers.com right now.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good
Yeah.
football.
Like, don't forget about me.
The Great American Pub. Catch the game
But again,
at
it's
any of
like,
the three Great American
this
Pub
is also the
locations in
schedule for a while.
Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville.
You know,
Visit
like-
GreatAmericanPub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football
So
means your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Mays and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
4 straight
This
games.
is Robin Stoll, brought to you by the Women's Hair Clinic of South Jersey and Jersey Shore Medical Alliance.
How protected are you from a home
Like my
fire?
mom.
A photo
My sister's flying down. Taking my mom down to Jupiter. We're on the relative live. And she wanted me to fly in. And I'm like, no, it's the weekend of the Dallas game. I can't be fucking around. This guy's taking 2 weeks out of 3 off.
It's great. It is something, isn't it?
Yeah. Meanwhile, now we've gotten through basically the whole football season. And there was no increase in advertising or any. Not one of us got an email saying, hey, want to do this appearance at whatever. Nothing. The entire football season. So he's full of shit when he says that that's the peak season.
And Jersey Shore Medical Alliance sponsors this
It's not like shit came in on their end.
No, that's what I'm saying. They just did the normal 99 bottles thing. It's just they do everything.
Right now, everybody gets employee pricing back, but at Ford Chevy, you get $1,000 below employee pricing on most new vehicles in stock.
And the only reason we don't get any shit is
Less than what we pay. That could be up to a 25% discount. And that's even 0% financing.
What you're saying about
Will
that
save you
whole thing,
more. If these sound like our best offers
sales
ever,
stuff, like,
that's
what the
because
fuck
they
happened?
are. And Bennett is
How do
paying
these
a
people
record
make any money?
$7,000 minimum for
They
any
just sell the other
trade-in
stations, I
real
guess.
vehicle in stock. That's right, a minimum $7,000 on any
Second hour, I mentioned I had that text I want to read. We've got to break down what we saw, mainly heard, from the broadcast crew last night. And anything else that we haven't been able to really jam in because Doug showed up late and that kind of pushed everything back. So there are a couple of other things that Peterson did mention in that press conference, but the biggest thing, of course, is the health. And Lane Johnson, first and foremost, what they do at wide receiver now, I imagine that somebody's going to get brought in, right?
I would think so. I mean, I don't know who.
Somebody. Jordan Matthews, is he available?
Oh, God, yeah. I don't know the inner workings of how all this stuff gets done, but if you were going to just say, like, you're at the point where, we're close to having our fill of the Mac Hollins experiment, why wouldn't you have just kept Jordan Matthews around?
No idea.
You had to get rid of both of them?
I think so.
With all these injuries, I mean, you could, if you put Jordan Matthews, could you have put him on your practice squad?
No, I guess he would have been claimed at that point.
Is he that good?
Well,
he's on the street, for God's sakes. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Maybe is he ineligible to go to a practice squad?
That I don't know the answer to that question, but that something like that sounds right.
He might be.
Something like that.
It's almost like sending a guy back to AAA. You only can do it so many times, or whatever. Certain guys, the way they're signed, they're ineligible to have that happen.
You need to do that for like an injury DFA or something.
But I mean, do they go to that well again?
You have to go to some place, don't you?
I guess Antonio Brown is persona non grata for the rest of the year with the NFL, and they're just not telling us. Because why wouldn't you, if he's not off limits from the league, why wouldn't you go get him?
I think Antonio Brown right now is a guy that you bring in, and you're willing to weather a storm if you know on the other end of that storm is a legit run to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not... If I'm Howie Roseman and my options are bring in Antonio Brown and deal with the PR and all the other storm that comes with it, and not even know if that puts me over the top to win the division. And look,
I mean, you don't know, but I mean, don't you have to try?
I don't know. And to be fair, we chastised the hell out of Matt Klentak and Andy McPhail for not knowing what the hell they're doing, for not doing anything remotely close to making a push for talent during the trade deadline in MLB, and it turned out to be a big impact on why they fell apart. So I get it that people will apply the same logic here with Antonio Brown, but I'm trying to see Howie Roseman's side in this one and say, I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, but see, I'm not doing that because with Klentak, they would have had to give up prospects and things to get guys in here to only maybe make a wild card game and probably not even make the wild card game, and definitely not go on a run like the Nationals did because they don't have near the pitching the Nationals did. So I can't equate the two of a guy who's sitting out there on the quote-unquote scrap heap who's an all-pro talent, and unless the league has told everybody and we don't know about it, hey, he's off limits for the rest of the year. We'll revisit the Antonio Brown next season, but right now he's off. You can't bring him in, and we're just not knowing about it. Like he's being blackballed essentially.
I don't know. I mean, the guy clearly, it's not like a Colin Kaepernick thing where there's so much gray area about why somebody would be held out of the NFL if in fact that's the case.
Well, and Kaepernick's a couple years now too. This guy was on a couple rosters this year.
Right. So the sense of how fresh it is about why he's out is still hanging over. The guy doesn't do anything to help his own cause. I just feel like
he's an idiot.
Yeah, yes, but here's the thing: the reality is that we shouldn't be looking at, like, if you're upset right now that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to barely win or not win the division, and they don't have anybody they can throw the football to, and they're not going to go after Antonio Brown. That's the result. The symptom of why you're mad 2 years in a row is because the team has neglected both off and in season, Harry, that position.
Yeah, they've misevaluated it, and right.
So maybe that's it. Maybe
they've been unlucky with injuries, but everybody gets injured. Now they seem to get rashed. It's almost like the entire position groups go down with the Eagles. Like one wide receiver gets hurt, there's three of them that are hurt, and then the other two can't play.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I don't like. Where's Aguilar? Did they even ask him about
Nope.
Nelson today?
I
I
don't
didn't
think-
hear a
I
question.
didn't
Maybe
hear
I
it.
missed it.
I
But I
didn't
mean, like,
hear
is
one.
he eligible to come back next week?
Well, let's see. Did you see anything at all about Aguilar on Twitter? Because a lot of times people will quote what Doug said.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything at all about Nelson Aguilar.
Or maybe the media's even forgotten about him.
Maybe just because of what Greg Ward in Boston Scott did with the football. Now it's just like, do we really need these guys?
Oh.
I don't know, man. 609-403-0973 on the text board. JR texts this. And I'm surprised to see this. I truly am. Much like I would be surprised to see the opposite come down, which would be an overwhelming beacon of positivity. I am shocked to see this. Quote, despite the victory, this team has no discipline or sense of urgency. They're comfortable with being labeled Super Bowl champs from 2 years ago, and they're content with collecting paychecks now. This season's play is proof of that. It all reflects on coaching, or the lack thereof. I want them all gone, including Doug. I'm done. JR.
Wow. Oh, well, I was at 17-3. I'm like, if they lose this game to this team after losing last week's game to that team, I'm done with them all, too.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I was on the verge
I
of that.
seriously was.
I really was on the verge of that. Joey D in Ventnor City, this magic moment is made famous in my ears from the movie Sandlot when Squints kisses Wendy Peppercorn. It's really Peppercorn, isn't it?
I don't know. I never saw
It's
it.
Peppercorn, I believe. Well, the Sandlot is overrated, but it is a good movie.
It's little kids playing
It
baseball, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I have to read this tweet because we were corrected. Not only did the Drifters have some hits, but Under the Boardwalk isn't even close to their most famous track. No.
What is?
Well, I have to find the tweet because I want to credit the person specifically.
Maybe we could have Josh pull it up.
It's a song that you know. In fact, it's a song that was made famous by a movie of the same name.
Okay.
So the name of the song that's famous.
Stand By Me?
Exactly. Now, good pull by you.
How about that?
That's a great pull by you.
I just remember those little kids walking along the railroad
The
tracks
the
all
train
the time.
track. Yeah. You want to see a dead body?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Oh, man, and I apologize because now I can't. I'm inundated with sex tape responses on my timeline.
Wait a second. Whoa. What?
I believe it was Feastervos who tweeted us that. But
Feastervos?
Yeah, but I apologize if I can't find the actual
Is
tweet.
that a combination of Feasterville and Trevos?
I think so.
Feastervos.
I think there's an actual part of that area in Bucks.
Oh, yeah?
That's called Feastervos.
Okay, he's not far from Parks Casino.
No, you should be hanging out with us tomorrow. In fact, you come out there, I'll give you a 25 Feastervos.
We're there tomorrow?
Oh, Friday. What the hell's going on?
Dude, today's Tuesday.
Is it? Jeez.
Yes. Today's
Yesterday
Tuesday.
threw me off.
Tomorrow we're in studio. Thursday we're in Tom's River.
Correct.
Bury the Hatchet.
Correct. Now, the video you put up has been retweeted by us, and hopefully the station can as well. It's us throwing an axe and explaining everything going on. If you come out to the Bury the Hatchet Tom's River location, that's a hop, skip, and a jump, all right? A lot of you live up and down that corridor, right, from Tom's River to Atlantic City, listening to us on the radio station 97.3. So much like Cherry Hill, there's no excuse that you can't come out and chill with us for even 5 minutes and say what's up, all right? And
Exactly.
I'll tell you what we'll do is if you come out and use our promo code Harry50. So if you come out there and use our promo code Harry50, I'll front your 2 hours of axe throwing, okay?
You'll front it?
I will. I'll front it. So it's not even like the first person or anything like that. Whoever.
It's like a loan?
No, I'm just saying I'll cover it. Yes.
So you're comping.
I will comp.
Okay.
Front is, I guess,
The
the front.
front sounds a little shady.
Okay, I'll comp. I am shady. I use
I know
shady
that.
terms.
I'll
comp.
front you to cash.
Exactly right. I'm not looking for any points
I
on the
need 10
return.
points on the back
exactly
end.
right. No. I'm not.
That's what that sounds like.
Okay.
You understand? Like comp is a nice. Hey, it's free. I don't know anybody anything. I don't know any favors.
Fair.
It's a comp.
Fair. All right. Well, I will comp if you use our promo code Harry50 live on Thursday at the Tom's River Bury the Hatchet location. I will comp
All right.
your 2 hours. So Harry50 from noon to 2, at Tom's River at Bury the Hatchet, burythehatchet.com. You can find out easy way to get there. We will comp it for you right there. Your 2 hours of axe throwing is on us. As far as the sex tape, do you think people would watch a Betty White sex tape?
No.
You think anybody would?
Well, I mean, there's probably people that are into that. I don't know what that's called, but there's probably a name for it on Urban Dictionary, watching a 90-plus-year-old woman
having sex?
Having sex.
Is there would it matter if she was having sex with a fellow celebrity? Like, if I got Ted Danson up in there, would you watch?
No. I have no interest in watching Ted Danson bartend on TV, much less have sex.
Okay, that's a fair point. I just wonder if there's a celebrity sex tape out there that people would not watch. Like, if a celebrity sex tape came out, you and the rest of the world, 0 views. Is that even possible?
Yes, it is. And I would be one of them. I could just rattle them off. Rattle off names, I'll tell you.
Lizzo.
No.
You're out?
Out.
Okay. A couple of people tweeted Lizzo. I'll get back to that. The Monday Night Football crew is so bad, I don't need to be reminded on every play the Eagles need to win out to make the playoffs. They were the worst they've ever been last night. Look, you've been reminded by a lot of people that they need to win out to win the playoffs. I understand your frustration, but don't take it out of my guy Booger, man.
No, it wasn't Booger. It was Tess that was doing that.
That's right.
Every 5 minutes, he was redoing the playoff scenarios and how this game is a must-win and Dallas playing. It was nauseating. That and the stupid Book of Eli thing that he kept referring to. What is the goddamn Book of Eli?
I don't know. Well, it's a movie with Denzel Washington that they tried to play off of by having it as his Bible, his life story.
Oh, really?
It was so...
That's what this was about?
Yeah, doesn't it make you feel even dumber? Like, isn't it an even dumber thing now that you know what it really is?
Yes.
It was so stupid. Unbelievable.
I guess the Book of Eli, the last chapter was halftime. Because there was nothing going on in the second half.
No.
He turned into what Eli Manning has looked like over the past year and a half, 2 years in that second half.
I would say that.
But the first half, it was like, unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's probably a good representation of Eli.
They watched tape of the Dolphins game. They're like, hey, let's just chuck it up. Mm-hmm. Let's just send receivers deep and throw the ball deep. And take our chances on beating these guys, or getting pass interference or whatever.
Why did they stop throwing to sleep?
I don't know.
Boy, that guy is an idiot. Pat Shurmur is an idiot. Whoever's in charge of that team's offense,
it's him.
It is so bad. And it's frustrating, I would think, from their angle, because you actually have some talent. Something was working, so you stopped doing it.
Yeah.
You're so bad. Look, you're so bad, you can't afford to take your foot off the brake when you're up 17 points or 14 points.
No.
You need to be up 50 points before you take your foot off.
You got to pretend you're Clemson.
Yes.
Okay? Like, seriously.
And the committee's going to keep you out unless you beat Virginia by 60.
Right, style points is
Seriously.
what you got to go for.
There were no style points last night. 609-403-0973. Hey, do you think Deshaun Jackson will come back if we make the playoffs? I don't know, to be honest with you. My guess was no, based on how serious this injury was. It seemed as if Deshaun was pretty much shut down for the year.
Deshaun Jackson?
Correct.
Yeah, I doubt we're going to see him.
Until
next year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're talking about next year, but not this season, I don't think. And again, if he comes back, it's a luxury, but it shouldn't be something that's factored or folded into the conversation today. Got real lucky last night, had the Giants money line, cashed it out mid-third quarter at double my money, then jumped on the Eagles money line at that point for 1.5 times my money. Only way to watch that horrible game was through active betting. This is the smartest text we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this is how you actively use the cash out. Think about that. That's a genius application. That people think the cash out is to salvage. Oh my God, I bet 50 on the Rockets money line last night. They're down to the Kings. Let me just get half of my money back. This is an active application of the cash out where that guy said, no, like you and I thought, This thing wasn't meant to last. That is a brilliant way. Now, you and I looked at it like, let's hold off and jump in mid-game.
Yeah. I like doing that.
I do too, but I think it's not a better or worse. I think there's an added element to this where you can jump in on a dog. Mm-hmm. And when you're up on that dog and you have the feeling that the dog ain't going to hold long, you cash out.
Yeah.
This guy cashed out at double his money, Harry, midway through the third quarter before the Eagles were really putting that comeback on.
Nice. I mean, you're going to probably have a lot of those opportunities in these bowl games, too.
It's true.
Coming up.
It's true, especially if you can get in ahead of any of these big lines that shift. Here's another one on the text board. Why not try Des Bryant? I'll try anything. I understand why they wouldn't go after Antonio Brown, which is the point I'm making, but I would definitely take a flyer on Des Bryant at this point. Well, Chad Ochocinco.
Here's Chad Ochocinco. He's probably playing video games somewhere. Listen, with the Des Bryant thing, nobody has gone after that guy since he tore his Achilles or whatever it was with the New Orleans Saints. Okay? He's got to be out of shape and shot because the Eagles aren't the only team that needed a wide receiver. Okay? Nobody has brought him in to even look at him. Doesn't that tell you something?
Yeah.
He's not blackballed.
No.
He's just he's done.
I would think so. That's
he's
fair.
done.
But why not bring him in?
It's not the same as Antonio Brown.
I'm not saying sign him. Why not bring him in for a workout?
Well, because you probably have talked to several other personnel people who
Say
were
don't
thinking
do
the
it.
same thing, and they're like, yeah, we talked to his agent. He's done. He's fat.
Who's to blame for the talent evaluation of the current roster? He's fat.
He got fat.
You guys got fat when everybody stomped on the street.
Right.
You know what that's from?
No.
Oh, that's one of the best Christopher Walken scenes ever. Okay. Thank you. From here on in, nothing goes down unless I'm involved.
Okay.
No dope deals, no blackjack, no nothing. You guys
good.
got fat when everybody stomped on the street.
That's very good.
It's my turn.
That's your best impression I've ever heard you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I can.
That's like Jay Moore, like quality.
I was going to say, Jay does the best walking I think I've ever heard. He does the walking on every time you see this walking on The Simpsons. That's Jay Moore.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very
good. You think you're going to live long enough to spend that money, you bleeping hump?
What is that, Gil talking to?
No, that's the mod guy
Walken?
that before Walken caps him.
Oh.
If any of you guys are tired of getting ripped off by guys like that, bang, 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 bang.
Okay.
Come see me. I'm at the Plaza Hotel. You're welcome.
All right.
You're all welcome to join. Come on, that's like one of the most famous lines in Christopher Walken history. People think that it's the movie with Christian Slater, True Romance, which was a fantastic monologue, if you will.
That or the Quentin Tarantino flick, Pulp Fiction. This watch, remember?
I thought that's True Romance. I thought.
No, that's Pulp Fiction, bro.
Pulp Fiction.
Where he holds the watch?
Yeah, up his ass.
Oh no,
he carried this watch up his ass.
No, but the better scene is where he's talking to Dennis Hopper in True Romance, and he's explaining, the lineage and stuff like that. That's the watch. That sounded like it was over the top Quentin Tarantinoism. Just that stuff makes
True Romance. Tarantino's involved in that flick too, isn't he?
Well, not to the level in which he was when he was stealing movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we at least all agree that Kings of New York is probably Christopher Walken's best work?
I would totally agree with that. Yes, sir. Screenplay was Tarantino, but it was also this guy Richard Avery.
Okay, I knew he was involved.
And Tony Scott directed that.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So there was
not Ridley Scott.
No, not Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Whose most famous movie must be what? I'm tempted, man. I am tempted. I am really tempted to say yes. I just want to make. Listen, Alien. What about the first one though? Alien, I think, is underrated.
Alien is probably the best of them.
Yes, I would say, but Aliens is the most famous.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm not saying it's the best one. I'm just saying it's the most famous.
Okay. Well, Ridley Scott did a lot.
Blade Runner, we don't give a lot of credit for.
The first Blade Runner.
The first Blade Runner.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't recognize the redo.
No.
Whatever that redo.
No, we do not recognize that. Look, you're talking about...
That was Harrison Ford, right?
Look at these movies he's done. Black Hawk Down, Hannibal, Gladiator, G.I. Jane was a really good movie.
What?
Have you not seen that movie?
No.
G.I. Jane was a good movie. Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, That was a good movie. Blade Runner, of course, is probably the most. As far as a director is concerned, he's got a lot, Harry.
Yeah.
Legend? You ever see that movie, Legend?
Yes.
That might be... Okay, that's the best. Now we're talking. You got Tom Cruise and Mia Sara in a movie? I'm in. You know who Mia Sara is, right?
Oh, I know.
She's Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 609-403-0973.
That movie's dead to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's to blame for the talent evaluation of the current roster? Boston, Scott, and Ward could have easily been pretty helpful earlier this season, considering the garbage they were throwing out. It took multiple injuries to force them on the field. Chris from Yardley. Good observation, Chris.
Yeah, they were forced to use them, and you know what else? Who else was forced? Carson Wentz was forced to trust them.
I don't blame... People need to stop blaming Howie Roseman for this, man. Once they're on the team and they make the 53, or you start going... Like, Howie Roseman doesn't go to Doug Peterson guys and say, this guy's on the practice squad, this guy's on the active squad.
The thing that I'm
These are Doug's decisions.
Is what they're watching in practice from some of these other guys that we knew couldn't play. And yet they're still there every Sunday.
I'll tell you, okay.
Like, what are they seeing?
I'll tell you exactly. First off, they're not seeing anything, but remember that. Because
right.
I want to hit that. I have an answer exactly, and I'm just going to steal something that John McMullen said, and hopefully I can spin it in an entertaining fashion, because McMullen said this, and it blew me away. I'm telling you, man, what you saw last night, and I'm going to answer your question by explaining this coming up, Harry. What you saw last night was a New England Patriots victory, and I'll explain that coming up.
I'm reading a story about Tiger drinking vodka cranberries like they're going out of style back in 03.
He's probably hydrating himself. Cranberry juice is disgusting. Come on. You need to upgrade your mixer. Why not just shoot it and then chase it with pineapple juice at this point? Unbelievable. Betty White and Clint Eastwood. Would you sit down for that?
No.
How about Lizzo and Kat?
No.
Rosie O'Donnell?
Never.
All right, here we go. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold. Amy Schumer. Somebody put in Chris Christie and then said, that's a lie, I'd watch.
Back after this.
Let's get it back to the Eagles.
You're listening to the Mays and Aton
What
Show,
is this?
presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to
Texas?
dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement.
Mike Gill and Harry.
What?
Listen to Sixers basketball tonight with Tom McInnes calling all the action.
This is Tom McInnes of the 76ers, and you can listen all season long for Sixers basketball on South Jersey Sports Leader. It's Sixers basketball tonight
weather,
on
man.
97.3 ESPN FM.
The Sixers host the Denver Nuggets. Coverage begins at 8 p.m.
Sixers basketball on South Jersey's home for the 76ers. 97.3 ESPN.
Are you tired of the same old, looking for an exciting new experience? Come join our friends at Bury the Hatchet. Take part in one of the fastest growing sports in the nation, axe throwing. Feel the thrill of axe throwing and compete against your friends and family in one of our 14 BYOB indoor facilities. Our axe masters will teach everyone how to stick it and keep your party moving with a variety of games like you've never experienced before. Birthday, bachelor, bachelorette party, corporate event, or just want a great time out with your friends. Bury the Hatchet will give you a night you'll never forget. Winter leagues are forming now, as well as our special Mays and Aton League for all you listeners. Bury the Hatchet is the East Coast premier axe throwing company with locations right in your backyard in Cherry Hill and Toms River, plus Philadelphia, then Salem, Horsham, and King of Prussia. Use our promo code HARRY50 for 50% off. Your first 2 hours will be 50% off. Just use our promo code HARRY50. Bury the Hatchet. Go to burythehatchet.com.
Welcome to
Took
Tuesday.
that fucking
Welcome to Toe Man Jones.
Rockets Kings. You see that buzzer beater by the Kings? Took this I took the Rockets Kings. It's a Rockets King game. I actually got plus 100 because they were down by like 6. And I took them. And they, of course, they fought back. and this fucking Kings buzzer beater at the end won the game. So then I turned around and flipped that back on the third quarter money
No.
line.
You just stay down where you are.
Third
You're
quarter
better
money
on the
line
floor.
between the Grizzlies and Warriors. So the Warriors went on a run in the second quarter to cut it in half, and I'm like, oh, they're in. That's it. Like, they're done. They do.
Yeah.
And the Grizz were down by like 6 points with about 5 minutes left in the third quarter. So I'm sitting there at 12:15 at night watching it on the GameCast.
I love how that liberal pansy of the head coach is getting no criticism whatsoever for
Who?
having Steve Kerr.
Oh,
having
Steve
them
Kerr.
fall totally off the map.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
Gotta wait.
you and I could have coached that team with frickin' KD and all those
Yeah.
fucking guys.
Gotta wait.
Give me a break.
You know you need to wait a little bit longer. Where's your
This
phone?
season, the Eagles
Where's your
pregame
phone?
starts at Dunkin'.
Joy?
TD Perks members
No,
score a
you
dollar
wait.
medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game day. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the
I'm going to
sidelines.
daycare tomorrow.
Tiger's sitting in front of me in the van back to the clubhouse, and he's shaking. One of the players said it was incredible how he handled the pressure at the moment, and asked him, "How do you feel?" Tiger held up his hand. It was shaking. He wanted to show these guys, "This is how I feel." He'd never been this nervous in his life. Going back to the clubhouse, Woods had one request. Yeah, does your clubhouse serve cranberry juice? They're in South Africa. Why? Yes, they did. Can he make me a vodka cranberry? Albert recalls Woods adjusting his order. He said, "Make it a big one."
That's great.
They fetched a pint glass inside and had the bartender make a stiff drink. Woods was sitting in front of his locker, and his hands were still shaking. Tiger took the drink and chugged it like it was water. And Woods' thirst wasn't quenched yet. He asked for another to take the edge off. I've had a guy.
A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil.
Okay.
Try it now. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
What is it, text board?
A better score. Call Asan Thai Massage right now. 215-663-9376. 215-663-9376. Asan Thai Massage. They aim to heal.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the second floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Whitney House. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious hospitality and an attentive dining room staff provide every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for a power lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
Achieving perfection requires feedback, and feedback requires you, the loyal 30s F-150 driver who rips up tree stumps, tows boats, builds houses, plows snow, moves friends across town, and hauls every heavy thing under the sun. We've gotten your feedback, and it looks good. Ford F-Series has been America's best-selling trucks for 42 straight years, but we won't stop there, because the only thing sweeter than 42 years is 43. Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
Hey,
This is Joe Krause of Krause's Coats inviting you to donate.
you have a chew toy. You don't need anything here.
Jacket and help kids in need stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's Coats Facebook page. Happy holidays.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
All right, Harry, we've got a bunch of texts to hit here before we get out of here. 609-403-0973.
Dog is very active.
Yeah, well, it's been raining and stuff, so he doesn't like the rain.
Yeah. Who does?
You remember the female one that I had, Bailey. She was from the South as well, and she hated the snow to the point at which she would not go, she wouldn't go at all unless she could see some sort of dirt.
Right.
So if it got really bad, I'd have to sit there.
You'd have to clear a little patch.
I'm telling you, man.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you. This one, he's too young for this. She was 5, 6 years old. So it's ridiculous.
All right, you're going to go to the text board, and then I'm going
I
to
have it.
remind you about what I said just before we went to break.
Oh, right. So actually, let's do that first.
All right.
Okay.
My question was, as this season goes on, and you still are having to watch Mac Hollins and do nothing on the field week after week after week. Aguilar basically do nothing, and yet you hear from the coach about how great they practice and what they're seeing in practice, and it really gives them confidence, to keep putting them out there in the game plan. And I'm like, what are you seeing? Because they play, they can't play.
No, they can't, and it's hard for me to think that they can practice so well and play so poorly. So, what I believe it is, based off of something that I've just been watching, like you've been watching forever up in New England, and combine it with what I heard John McMullen say. I think it might have been yesterday or Friday, but he's on every day, so I apologize. Basically this, it's a healthy 50-50 of ego, arrogance, / not understanding what guys who have everything to work for and play for can do for your football team. The prior being in-house, the latter being something that the Patriots have truly mastered. This is my point. When you see Kevin Hogan out there chasing around a ball.
He was the lacrosse
player. Correct.
Yeah.
When you see guys like Chris Hogan, I went to college with a guy named Kevin Hogan, I apologize.
Yeah, he's from Stanford.
There you go. Well, I also went to college with
Not Kevin Hogan.
No, not Kevin
That would have
Hogan.
been a good one there, Josh.
No, not the Hulkster. I promise you, not the Hulkster. But when's the last time anybody in New England has outstayed their welcome? Simply, and look, forget the simply part that I'm going to add. It doesn't happen. You don't have conversations in New England about a guy who's a second-round pick who is not producing for 3 straight years.
No, they move on.
And who do they move on to? Bill Belichick has said this countless times, but we always focus on the funny and the light stuff. The reality is that they mine guys like Boston Scott and Greg Ward, who
guys
are
who are
on
hungry,
teams,
and
right?
Hungry.
And teams like the Eagles can't use them.
Right.
That's why they go up to New England. Look, what you saw yesterday, the reason why Boston Scott and Greg Ward are playing their asses off are the same reason why Hogan or anybody not named Julian Edelman out there is playing their ass off. Or James White.
It was like Welker was a practice squad guy.
Absolutely,
and
from
he was
Miami.
kicking around with the Dolphins and so forth, and maybe even another team, I don't know. Rob Ninkovich is another one who was a practice squad guy. He was a rarely productive defensive player.
Patrick Chung, go wherever you want.
He was a stiff here.
It's not just coaching. It's the willingness to move on from a mistake. And that's why I think it's the coaches. Look, they go and they say, get me Mac Hollins. They go and they say, get me cornerback A or B. At some point, your ego has to be trumped by wanting to win football games. And the reason, to answer your question, the reason why we haven't seen Greg Ward or Boston Scott help this team to where the other guys have been a detriment, Harry, is ego. Is I don't want to publicly admit I was wrong by taking somebody high and going to somebody who fell through the cracks. And that's where I paraphrase John McMullen, have you learned nothing from Corey Clement?
Yeah.
You got an undrafted rookie running back who was a Super Bowl impact player.
Yeah, there's undrafted guys all over the league that are making impacts on teams.
But they don't want to move on.
Not
from
everybody
these guys.
comes through the draft.
No.
My God, there's only 7 rounds.
No. It's like if you can't, it's for something with this team, Harry, it's like if we don't get somebody in our draft, then they're not worth it. Or they can't help and they can't contribute until it's too little too late. Can you imagine what Boston Scott would have been able, even as a third option, like we saw an old aging Darren Sproles? I'm not saying making him the number 1 back.
No, but a complementary piece in the offense.
I don't think there's a hungrier player on this team right now, Harry, than Greg Ward. I don't think that there's a guy right now who is hungrier for playing time and the ability to show people what he can do than Greg Ward.
And that guy, it's been coming for a long time because he was always told that he was too small. He wasn't, offered by some of the big schools. He ends up at Houston because he wanted to play quarterback. He's only 6 foot. They say he's 6'1". He's 6 foot. And he had to come up through the American Conference, to prove himself. And even then, he doesn't get drafted.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
So he's always out there to prove somebody wrong. Now, is he going to turn into a star? No, but he can help you. That's all.
Yeah. No, I got a tweet. At Elanium. Chris, 6 and 7 with a bunch of Eagles emojis, 87-86. You're right about Alien, but please don't disrespect Blade Runner 2049. Now, to be fair, he throws a couple crying emojis in there, so
Okay.
that's where the. Now, what about Peter Dinklage and Lizzo? Would you watch that?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
You couldn't get in 3 seconds
No.
worth of Dinklage inside Lizzo?
No.
Okay, just curious. 609-403-0973. Is it me or does Carson Wentz? Ah, sorry, that text just popped up. Oh, come on, this damn text board. Is it me or does Carson Wentz think he's faster and more mobile than he thinks? No, I just don't think he's got an opportunity to do anything.
He got run down from behind last night. After he finally decided to leave the pocket and go try to make some yards, he went left.
Yeah.
And somebody, I forget who it was, ran him down from behind. He only gained like 2 or 3 yards.
Oh, it was a D-back.
Yes.
Wasn't
I forget
Bethea.
who it was.
If it was Antoine
Bethea
Bethea,
had a big game.
he
last
did,
night.
but they didn't require him to move much.
No.
Like he that was a veteran knowing spaces on the field and being able to
Positioning,
play. Exactly
yeah.
right.
And Boog let us know about every time his buddy Bethea made a play.
Yes, he did, man. Mike Rainey, Aguilar is out awaiting hysterectomy to heal.
Oh, jeez.
Dan from EHT, it's not Miracle at the Meadowlands, but we'll take it. That wasn't a miracle of any sorts. God, Dan, you know, there's too many texts from you to read because they all come in. Honey Boo Boo's mom, 0 views
God.
would happen. Now that's something. Now you're on it. Now, but Honey Boo Boo's mom, does she have a minimum 500,000 Twitter followers, and is she verified? Because that's the criteria. It's not an or, it's an and scenario.
Are you looking to produce something?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
The world's worst sex tape?
Wow.
Ocho is phenomenal shape. He does big-time weightlifting now. That's on the text board, Harry.
And according to Gil, Peterson did reference Aguilar, or he was asked about Aguilar, and he said he's not sure if he can play next week, quote unquote, up in the air.
Yeah, he's out.
What is with this guy?
He's out. Dez actually looks like he's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
Keeps posting videos to his Instagram of workouts similar to what Kaepernick has been doing.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think it's his overall physique in question. It's probably just his ability to stay healthy after an Achilles injury.
I saw that the Redskins, I think, signed one of those receivers.
They
that
did.
Was the Kaepernick workout.
They did.
Why wasn't Dez at that workout?
Well, if you're Colin Kaepernick, you probably don't want to risk a guy popping his Achilles in the middle of running a route, right?
I mean,
You probably want the best available guys
No.
you can get. Phenomenal King of New York. Well, thank you, sir.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Guys, you said Tony Scott, but then named Ridley Scott movies. Tony Scott directed True Romance, written by Tarantino. Tony has done some great movies, but True Romance might be his best. Correct. That's how the game works.
Yeah, that's how we got there.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's all about the rabbit hole. Tony Scott was the director. I think
And then I said not Ridley
Right.
Scott, and that got you to look up his movie.
asking what the best movie is. I still credit Tony Scott more than Quentin Tarantino for True
Somebody's not
Romance.
following it along at
It's
home.
okay. You know, the take-home game isn't for everybody. When I look at the Eagles and think about that stupid statue, it tells me everything I need to know about that piss-poor front office and coaches. Matt from Millville. Wow.
What statue? The Doug P. and Nick Foles statue?
Yep. Yep. I don't think it's time to take that down.
No.
Maybe to the point of guys looking good at practice and not in games has something to do with the practices being too easy so they look better. No, I'm
Well,
telling
they
you.
got the pads out this past week, man.
Boy, man.
That's the thing. That's what I was thinking of. Doug P. Went to that last-ditch effort to get his players' attention, and then they came out and gave that performance in the first half. I'm blown away by the fact that they were able to turn it around, even against that bad team.
There has to be some sort of metric or advanced analytic that would just detail how bad this team is in the first quarter, mainly first quarter, but also first half, right?
Well, it would be the opposite of late and close, right? There's a stat like that in baseball.
How good you are when games are late.
Yes, and close.
Close.
At bats in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning in close games, that kind of thing.
'Cause-
So this would
right.
be early.
But I don't want it to just be a reflection of the score, because they have gotten good defensive performances in the first half as well. I think it's just specifically when you get the offense and how awful and stagnant the offense is.
And Darby was just beyond brutal last night. The missed tackle on Slayton where he ended up scoring, and then I don't know what he and McLeod were doing. Like, what defense were they playing? They allowed him to go split right in between them. And, I mean, to Darby's credit, he at least played the play out and tried to run him down.
Yeah,
McLeod just kind of was like, what? What do you want from me?
Why are there so many miscommunications?
I know. There was a lot on the Giants' end, but we
Well,
know why. Because they're young and they're not good.
How many blown coverages? I think they had more blown coverages than the Eagles
did.
had first downs last night.
Yeah.
That was something else. 609-403-0973. You have a text or tweet? Oh, pardon me, a tweet at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
People aren't tweeting the show. They're more into the texting.
No, they are. That's fine. Keep Aguilar out. Meow and forever. People are out on Aguilar, man.
Well, he's not going to be here next year.
Here's
That we
okay.
know.
Let me ask a question, and let's get to this in our final segment. Okay, and I want you to truly think about this before you give me just an answer. All right, and a simply impulse answer. Right? Is impulse a term that you can use? Can you impulse?
In other words, you want me to
past tense?
hold this until the next segment.
No, I do want you to hold it until the next segment, but I want you to hold the actual answer. Like, I don't want you to jump to a conclusion now. I want you to think this over. And I would like everybody else out there to think this over as well.
What is it?
It's a very simple question that I do not think entails a simple answer.
All right, just get to the question.
Well, I want to make sure
What's
that
the question?
there's enough time here to bleed this out, and that I was trying to time it out so that the
Start the
music
music, Josh.
that's what I was trying to do.
There we go. Now, hey, what's the question?
Do the Eagles need Nelson Aguilar for the next 3 games to make the playoffs? I want you to really think about everything you've seen with Aguilar on the field, Aguilar off the field. Forget Alshon Jeffrey, Lane Johnson, everybody else. It's one person and one person only. Do the Eagles actually need Nelson Aguilar for the final 3 games to make the playoffs? Back after this.
What don't you understand? What don't you get about it? Listen to Maze and A-Time. Okay.
Nice.
Download the 97.3
Wow.
ESPN mobile app now.
What?
Dean in Clearwater.
In Mount Airy?
No, Dean in Clearwater. Lena Dunham. I'd rather sit
Oh, yeah,
in front of you and watch you
How great is
masturbate.
that?
Oh my God!
Look to sweep the series with the Washington Redskins.
Wow.
The countdown to kickoff show with Tony Bruno starts at 10 a.m. Maryland Mike call all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station. I am
They're ridiculous, man.
football season, are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use promo code SWEEP, 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 to get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Parkscasino.com/PA. Again, PARX, casino.com/PA, and use promo code SWEET to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys, and should be the guys you trust as well. Place all your favorite sports bets, point spreads, money lines, even line, in-game betting. Sign up now, get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Promo code SWEET. Get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Risk-free bet is refunded on the losses of free bet. You must be in Pennsylvania. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's human nature to care for one another. It can be as simple as sharing an umbrella, holding a door, or lending a hand. At Independence Blue Cross, we've been doing our part too for the last 80 years, providing access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals, as well as offering nurse health coaches and gym reimbursements. Because we believe there's caring in all of us. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at IBX.com.
Don't let loneliness muscle you to destroy your home. Our guys have set their needs to insulate and protect your home all year round. And this family-owned business
So, Schwein is on the Monday night show.
Yeah.
that will eliminate mold. Let Dry Guys solve the problem. Call
Yeah.
Or 470-4808. Visit DryGuys
Billy Schwan.
.com. The first step.
Yeah, he'll probably do it for nothing.
DryGuysOnAir.com.
Be sharp, because you know whatever Krause is going to pay Colin, he's not going to pay
No.
part of it to Schwan.
No, I would imagine not. Good point.
Kickoff show with the Tony Bruno Show every Thursday starting at 6 p.m. Get the daily specials on Facebook and find your way to Screwball Sports Bar and Grill in King of Prussia. Screwballs, where sports people go